All right, welcome back, collectors. Well, I see Tyler on the couch. That means it's
Yep,
time for another round of double trouble. How are
here
you
we
today?
go.
How are you, Tyler?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Ready to get after it.
Yeah, I'm very glad you're here, and I know both of us are glad that you folks are joining us again tonight. We're going to take a look at 15 notes that were sold in the Stack's Bowers and Heritage auctions during the last week. Now, like before, we will show you the notes with the final price displayed near the grade in the upper right. This price does include the buyer's premium. But there's one thing it does not include, and that is sales tax. I'm sure many of you live in states that levy sales taxes on items like this. In fact, I believe you do, don't you, Tyler?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, you have to keep that in mind when making purchases, as that can substantially affect the bottom line and your final price. Um, this also remember, and people laugh at me when I say this, but also remember that there's shipping charges added to this at the end. And well, that may not mean a lot to you if you're buying $1,000 item. It might if you're buying $100 item, just to get an extra 15 or 20 bucks dropped at the last moment. Keep
Yeah,
that in mind as you're bidding on notes. It's not just the 20% buyer's premium. You have to keep sales tax and all other fees in mind. All right, well, let's get to the notes. That's what everybody wants to see, including us. All right, this first note is a $1 Series 1869 rainbow note. This is a raw note. This is a very popular design, and this one sold for $336. Tyler?
Uh, yeah, it's a beautiful note. I mean, despite being well worn, those VGs can be tough to find whole. Uh, I
Yep.
mean, it's got some corner damage, but overall, I would say it's a pleasing VG example. You don't see them raw on stacks or heritage very often. Usually, they're graded.
Right.
Uh, in this one, for green sheet in a VG8 is 225, and then in fine 12 is 420, and in the book it's about 400 in VG8 and 625 in a fine. I would say this one went for 336, so I'd say that's a pretty good price. I was actually bidding on this one myself,
Right.
but the next increment was another $20 jump plus tax plus everything else.
Right.
Um, so I decided to park it
Yeah.
and let them take it at a good price.
Right. 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 Okay. The next note is an 1880 $1 legal tender. This one is graded 30 by PMG and sold for $432. Tyler?
Yeah, this is a nice note, nice mid-grade piece. I always really like this design. I was actually bidding on this one as well, but I decided to hold off. Didn't go for a bad price, but again, it's got a little bit of staining there, and I figured I might be able to scoop a better one at a show. Um, they're common enough that you can find that kind of stuff. So this one, green sheet, for a fine or for a very fine 20 is 285, and for a very fine 35 is 450. And in the book, a very fine 20 goes for 425, and then for extremely fine 40 in the book is 750.
Yeah.
So this one kind of fell right there in the middle. I'd say it went for a good price.
Right.
About it, I would say that the book and green sheet kind of stacks up there.
Right. Right. And this is an early Freebird number, right? I think 28's the first one for the
Yep,
18. Right. So this is pretty early.
yep. Still
Well,
with the big brown seal.
yeah,
Yep.
that's just what I was going to say. Got to love that brown seal. Yeah. All right. Next, we have the 1923 legal tender. This one is graded 58 EPQ exceptional paper quality by PMG, and it sold for $810. Tyler?
Yeah, these are amazing notes. It's for like the common, really late, large size notes is probably one of my favorites. I just love the cherry red overprints. This one sheet for green sheet is at 500. Now that's not with the EPQ designation. That's just a flat 58. And then in the book for crisp uncirculated 60 is 575. Um, so I would say that the market's probably trending upwards on these notes when they're really nice and original.
Right, right. Like yourself, I love that red ink, and I checked the numbers on this one too from Track and Price. There are about 6,000 of these notes known, and actually 200 star notes, which surprised me. So, like you
That's
said,
quite a few.
go ahead.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, that they're not that hard to locate, but also one of my favorite notes. Yeah. All right, next we have a very popular note. This is the Martha Washington design 1886 silver certificate, graded 20 by PMG, and this one sold for $456.
Yeah, these are super popular. I always saw that the 1886 was a little bit less respected than the 1891 until recently. I think it's starting to catch up. Um, I mean, I would see these everywhere at shows when I first started collecting, and they were always super expensive. But they're just popular notes. Everyone loves Martha Washington.
Yeah.
Uh, so this one in a VF20, green sheet is 350, and then in the book is 550. And this one falls right in the middle. Sounds like it's going for about, market rate. I'd
Yeah.
say that someone did pretty well on that one. Yeah, that's a nice piece right there. I wouldn't say it has spectacular eye appeal for a 20, but it's a solid 20.
Yeah. All right. Next up is the 1862 $2 bill featuring the portrait of Alexander Hamilton. This one is graded very fine 20 and sold for $930.
Yeah, I love this note. Also, Hamilton shows up on the $50 bill of the same series, which I didn't find out until somewhat recently.
Yeah.
Um, this one in green sheet in a 20 goes for 750, and then in the book is 1250 in very fine 20. Um, these notes, they usually come with problems. They usually come with, missing corners and other issues. But this one looks like a solid example. That top margin's pretty chunky, but I think that one went for a good price.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that something this old still looks this good, and this is a comment-free example. So it's also nice to see that on an older note.
Yeah, it just looks clean. It's not dark because some of them come real dark.
Right. Well, next up, we have something a little unusual. This is a $2 silver certificate from the 1891 series and features the portrait of William Wyndham. It is graded 30 and does have a comment foreign substance. Now, I won't venture a guess as to what that might be, but that didn't that didn't keep it from selling at the top of the auction estimate of $1,200.
Oh yeah, this is a note that just kind of sticks out. It doesn't match the Hancock note from 1886. They changed the design.
Right.
Um, I don't want to give false information, but that might have been because someone died or something. I don't know.
Could be.
Because they tend to switch things up. But with this guy, green sheet in a 20 is 725, and in VF 35 is 1275, and then in the book for a 20 is 1000, and then book for a 40 is 2250. I see a big difference between retail pricing and green sheet pricing on this note to begin with, but Yeah, pretty interesting. Haven't
Well,
really been keeping my eye on these notes
yeah,
much. Like,
yeah, yeah. There are about 400 of these known, so that may have something to do. You just don't maybe see them this nice that often. Is that true? Could be.
yeah, I think they're kind of those notes that you see in low grade, real low grade, or you see them, uncirculated.
Yeah. Right.
It's one of the two.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, speaking of a beautiful note, next up is this beautiful $2 mini porthole note. This series of 1899 silver certificate that graded 30 by PCGS. This is just a beautiful note in every way.
Yeah, it's just got that bold ink. I mean, it just faces up really well. It's a choice example for a 30. That's just about as good as it gets, in my opinion. Obviously, it didn't get the EPQ designation, so maybe it was pressed or, otherwise kind of, enhanced.
Right.
But that's a really nice looking note. It has great eye appeal. And for green sheet, this one in a 20 is 250, and then in a 35 is 500. And then the book says in a 20 is 475, and then in EF 40 we get 750. But when it comes to these notes with exceptional eye appeal, and you've got collectors looking to upgrade, or they're just looking for a really nice choice mid-grade piece, you're going to see that demand. And I would say, this one didn't go insane. Probably still a good deal for somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very nice note.
Now,
Uh,
I think I mentioned this earlier, but Stack's Bowers, their auctions, um, once you hit $500, the increment goes up to $50 each bid, which is significant. And when you're under that, it's $20 each bid, um, compared to Heritage, where it builds up much more slowly. I believe around 500. It's still at $20 jumps. Maybe it's at 25.
right.
But it's just something worth noting that the prices will jump really high on the next increment with Stacks compared to Heritage.
All right. All right. Next up, we have this 1891 Treasury note featuring the portrait of General McPherson. Um, this one is graded 25 by PMG, sold for $630 with an ink comment. Now, do you think that means the general had a tattoo?
Oh boy, maybe he was getting some Navy tattoos. He's got an anchor somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
Oh,
know he wasn't in the Navy, but
I know. I know.
let's see. I think this note, it looks kind of washed to me, and it's got some pretty strong, you know, margin splits up there
Yeah.
for a 425. So I included just the 20 pricing here, and even still in sheet 730, and then in the book for VF20 is 1100.
Yeah.
Someone got a good deal. A
They got a really,
collector or dealer got a good deal here.
yeah, they sure did. And I checked the numbers on this one as well. There are just over 200 of these notes known for this Freeburg number. So it's I call 200 a pretty rare number. So,
Yeah, I agree.
all right. The next note is a very popular wood chopper design, series 1907 legal tender. It sold for $432. This one has the public era and is graded 35 by PMG.
So this one is, I mean, really eye appealing. That overprint is nice and bold. The paper's pretty white. Um, you know, Jackson's portrait there is nice and dark. Um, with the public air, they don't even really list the
Right,
pricing difference.
right.
It's kind of just like an aside. So for this one, in a 35, it sheets at 335, and then in the book, in a 40 is 425. But this one just has amazing eye appeal. I'm not shocked at all that it went for 432.
Yeah. So they sort of paid up for this one, but for the eye appeal, you think?
Yep, definitely for the eye appeal there, and that's where eye appeal is key, especially with notes like these.
Right. And that is a beautiful note. Speaking of another beautiful note, next up is one of my favorite designs, the series 1923 $5 silver certificate, also known as the porthole note. This one graded 20 by PMG and sold for $1,500.
These must have been really increasing in price because I remember I went to the Baltimore show in 2018, in the fall of 2018, and
Yeah.
I got mine, which is like a fine, maybe like fine, very fine, kind of a cusper for $400.
Yeah.
Um, so they've definitely gone up. And this one VF20 sheet is 1125, and then in the book is 1500. So right on the retail pricing here. I think that overprint and kind of the design, to me, it looks like it's been washed. What do you think, Ontario?
Yeah. And I was going to mention the ink on the back of this note to me looked a little weak. And it may be from what you just said, it may have been washed at some point.
Yeah, this one definitely looks washed to me.
Well, it sure brought strong money, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's still brought full retail,
Yeah.
but someone must have really, needed a VF. They just paid up. I don't know. Who knows?
I think it's the old saying, it just depends on who's in the room, and that you say what the individual's reasons are for buying something. All right. The next up is a Series 1880 $10 legal tender, also known as the Jackass Note. This one is comment free and graded 30 by PMG and sold for $1,080.
Yeah, this is another really nice eye appealing note that has a great overprint, great inking, and great centering. Even though, at 30 it doesn't mean a whole ton in terms of the grade, it definitely matters for eye appeal. And this is a nice looking note. Um, so for green sheet in a 20, we have 550, and then in 35 we have 750, and then in the book for a 20, we're at 825, and then in a 40 we're at 1250 in the book. So
Yeah,
yeah, this note trending more towards retail pricing,
yeah,
and that's what seems to happen with these notes that just look really good for the grade.
right, right. They pay up for them. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, here's one that doesn't look as good, but it's still a popular design, and that is the $10 legal tender, also known as the poker chip note, because of its distinctive back design. This one is graded Choice Fine 15 and comes with a comment of soiled, yet it sold for $1,320, well above the auction estimate.
With these notes, you're just especially graded, and there's no net designation, even though there's the issue. Um, you can see Jackson pretty clearly. The red ink is still there. It's
Right.
absolutely red. Um, it doesn't look washed. I mean, it's soiled, but it doesn't really look washed in that way. They're
Right.
not going to go for under 1,000. They're just not going to. Um, this one is for green sheet is 1,100 and a 12, and this is 15. So green sheet 1,112, and then 1,500 in the book. Yes, it's soiled. Yes, it has problems, but these are just too popular to
Right.
go, that cheap unless they've got serious issues. So I think that that about measures up.
Yeah, I think that probably says the auction estimate was low on that note, probably.
I mean, they probably put it low to entice bidding, but 700 and 900, yeah, they definitely knew it was going to go a little higher.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's only about 625 of these known. As you know, there's only one Freeburg number for this design. So, all right. Next up is an excellent example of a $10 1880 silver certificate featuring Robert Morris. This note is graded 15 details by PCGS and carries the comments small tape repairs and minor internal damage. So Mr. Morris may need to see a physician about that. But anyway,
Yes.
it sold for $2,160.
So I actually saw this note at Baltimore this year in March. Um, the asking price was over 3,000.
Hmm.
Uh, and I looked at it. I, considered this note. And it was just a little bit, it was marked too high, although for being a fine
Yeah.
and the 1880 series, the Blackback series,
Right.
they're known for, being well worn. Just look at that portrait. I mean, just look how vivid that is.
It is. Yeah. It is. Absolutely.
Obviously, yeah, it's got its issues, but I mean, I think it went for a fair price. Uh, Green sheet is 1,800 in a 12, and then book is at 2950 in a 12. So, I mean, it's got its issues, but that definitely was a good pickup for someone who can tolerate some issues.
Right. And these are generally pretty rare. I mean, there are only about 500 of these notes known for all the Freeburg numbers. If you added them up, which I think there's four or five for this 1880 series, and there's only 500 notes known, so that's pretty rare for the type.
Super high demand as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I was looking for one until I got one recently. So it was tricky for me to be able to get one.
Right. All right, moving to the gold certificates now. This is an extra nice example of a $10 gold certificate. This one is series 1922 and is graded 58 exceptional paper quality by PMG. This one sold for $1,080.
Yeah, these notes are just great notes as well. I mean, I feel like I say that about all of them because
Well,
I
they're
honestly I like all of them.
I do too, yeah.
But for this one, we've got green sheet with a 58 flat, no EPQ is 900. And then in the book, it's 1,500 in a 60. Um, so I mean, I've been seeing a lot of these Midwest gold cash notes. There's a lot of them out there recently. They've kind of been flooding the market.
All right.
So maybe now would be a good time to get, one of these notes that's in high grade, like these AU or XF. Maybe now would be a good time because they've been all over the place recently.
Right. For our last note, we have another beautiful gold certificate. This one, a $20 bill, graded 25 by PMG and sold for $528.
This one again has that eye appeal that you just really want to see. The back on this note is just really nice and vivid.
Yeah.
Um, for green sheet, we got in a 20 is 260, but I included 35 pricing, which is 650. And in the book for a 20 is 400. Um, just these notes, these VF 25 notes
Yeah.
with really nice eye appeal, always seem to command really strong prices. So, you know, if you want a nice mid-grade example that really pops, you're just gonna have to bid until no one else is bidding. That's just how
Right.
these notes go.
Yeah. 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 That's right. Also, the portrait, that if it doesn't have a lot of ink breaks or anything, that you pay up for that, how nice the portrait looks.
Exactly, and I feel like that's especially so with all the Washington portraits with the rainbow note,
Yeah.
uh, the mini porthole, the 1880s, obviously the gold certificates. It's just super super popular.
Yeah. Well, we seem to get through those 15 notes fast.
Yeah, we did.
This has been fun as always. And, I guess I would say to to people watching, always keep your eyes open and for good deals, and keep your ears open for the next auction.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
any closing thoughts, Tyler?
No, I think the market is in a decent place. I think it's kind of, at least when it comes to these notes, which are available, like the collector kind of grade stuff. They're right in the middle. They're right in between wholesale and retail. Um, so now is kind of like a decent time to be buying or selling.
Yeah,
There's some
right.
rarities coming up. Uh, just keep your eyes peeled and kind of, hopefully this video can give you an idea of where the market's heading, and kind of use that, put it in your toolbox.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us, and we hope to keep making these auction review videos from time to time. We look forward to reading your comments. Please like, subscribe, and thanks for stopping by. Good night, everybody.